Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use Kill Squad LaLo here at Townhall 11 to 3-star any base. So here is the army composition for this strategy, and there's a couple of things to think about. The first of all being, yes, we're going to be coming in with a much heavier kill squad than you might see in some of these other strategy guides. For me though, it's really worth it bringing in those bowlers. We're going to be cloning and raging them up alongside our king and queen, so it's definitely worth looking at this strategy in detail so we can maximize the value we are getting from that initial push. LaLo going to be coming through in the back end, but we'll jump in and we'll break it all down. So the first thing you want to do here is approach this the exact same way as you would with any other LaLo variant, whether that's Kill Squad LaLo, coming in with a blimp LaLo, anything like that. You're always looking for the same key objectives. First of all, clan castle troops. We want to make sure we are guaranteeing we take down those enemy clan castle troops. Very, very important. Next up, we're looking to deal with the enemy heroes in this order: Archer Queen first, then the Minion Prince if they have it up, then the Grand Warden, and then the Barbarian King last. We really don't care too much about the Barbarian King in this one because he can't do any damage to our LaLo. After that, we're looking to try and take down a multi-target Inferno, at least one multi, if not both of them, and if you can get it, the Eagle Artillery is also going to be very, very nice. But let's jump in and break this down. First things first, we're just going to be creating a little bit of a funnel. That's going to be with these sneaky goblins. It takes one sneaky goblin per collector, two sneaky goblins per storage. We're then going to get that first super wall breaker coming in, opening up this first compartment and beginning to create that funnel. Golem's going to be going out in front. It's going to be tanking. It's going to be doing really heavy tanking here for our king, for our queen, and for that log launcher. We're looking for that log launcher just to open up one or two compartments, allowing our troops into the core. That log launcher is very, very important, so keep an eye on it. We're also going to be getting that poison spell down, of course, to help us deal with those enemy clan castle troops and any enemy heroes. Skeleton spell just came in as a little bit of support to help tank for some of those enemy heroes as well. If the Archer Queen Barbarian King can lock onto the skeletons rather than your heroes, that is really going to be beneficial. But let's really focus in on this next point of attack because it's one of the most pivotal moments of this attack. A rage, a heal, and a clone spell. We're looking to get as much value from them as possible, bouncing those bowlers all the way through the core. Now, unfortunately, we don't get the value we are looking for here. The rage and the heals should have been far more centralized so we could have maximized the bounce value, but we do still end up completely taking down the core of the base, dealing with that multi-target Inferno. The clan castle troops have gone down, the enemy heroes have all been dealt with, and now we can get going with the next portion of our attack, which of course is going to be that LaLo. They're going to be flying in from that left hand side of the base. We're going to be getting those lava hounds coming out in front, tanking for some of those single targeting defenses like archer towers, single target infernos, Teslas, anything like that. We're then going to be using our spells to help support us as we progress through the back end. Eternal Tome ability is going to be used to help protect our balloons through the back multi-target Inferno if they have one. We've already dealt with one, but there was of course another to try and contend with. We want to make sure we're using our haste spells to push those balloons through onto some of these heavier defenses like the wizard towers, multi-target Infernos, buildings like that. The freeze spell can also of course come through, and you can see that freeze spell coming down on the back end beautifully right there, freezing up the archer tower and that wizard tower, just allowing those balloons a little bit more protection. But ideally here we would have got slightly more value from those bowlers in the core. You want to make sure the rage and the heal are down exactly where the bowlers are going to be getting the majority of their value. Unfortunately here we were slightly off with them. You can also actually switch from the log launcher to the wall wrecker. The wall wrecker has a bit more HP and typically it can actually get all the way through to the core, whereas sometimes the log launcher, I notice it goes down just a little bit too early. It doesn't quite get exactly where we're looking for it to go, but you can play around with this. For this particular one, we're going to be using the log launcher. And moving through onto that second example, one thing to really keep in the back of our mind here is the fact that the log launcher, the wall wrecker, the blimp, whatever siege we end up using, is going to be locking onto the town hall. It makes a beeline, a straight line for that town hall, so keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to be starting this attack from opposite town hall side here, whereas if we started it from the town hall itself, the log launcher would literally just blow up pretty much straight away because it would have already got there. But regardless, we're going to be creating that funnel, of course, first of all with those sneaky goblins. We also have a baby dragon over there on that right hand side of the base just to help support. Now we're going to be approaching this pretty much the exact same way. We're looking to push our heroes into a portion of the base where we're going to be able to get lots and lots of value. In this particular case, we are looking to try and get into the multi-target Inferno as well as the Eagle artillery there in the core. Let's keep an eye though on this log launcher, as unfortunately it did get locked onto by the Expo. In comes the rage, in comes the heal, and then we can go ahead and drop down that clone spell, making sure we clone the bowlers and not the giant that is in there. If you're worried about cloning up the giant, then just don't bring it. You can just bring those bowlers. That one giant really is not going to make that much of a difference. Unfortunately, again here, the log launcher ends up popping at a pretty awkward point of the base. It ends up dropping and then all the bowlers kind of split up, but we do end up taking down the Expo there. We get the multi-target Inferno. The Eagle artillery does also eventually go down. Queen still has her ability as well, so she's going to be able to deal with some of these back end defenses as we push our LaLo now in towards this multi-target Inferno. Be careful when it does come to funneling, because we have two defenses kind of outlying from the path that we are looking for our main army to go. Just be warned that they may actually end up going down and you might not get those defenses taken down that you're looking for. Using those spells though, like I said, just to help support your troops, freezing up any wizard towers, multi-target infernos, splash damage buildings, and then using those haste spells to push your balloons between defenses so they're not taking damage when they're not doing any themselves. But in this particular one, we pretty much swag that Eternal Tome ability, we swag the freeze, and we swag a haste. It was a very great example here of showing just how strong this strategy can be, even with those bowlers maybe getting a little bit split up. Because they get so much bounce value, it always is going to be pretty easy to finish off with a 3-star. So we have one more example, let's jump in and we'll take a look. So for that third and final example, we have a pretty spread out base. However, this is more typical of what you might tend to see. Those anti 3-star bases are fairly rare unless you're coming in against, you know, a really good clan or a very difficult base high up when you're trophy pushing, but typically you're going to be able to get plenty of value from this one. King and Queen are behind that golem, going to be coming from this bottom section of the base. We of course did start off with those sneaky goblins, but by this point in the video you already know that those sneaky goblins and the baby dragon is what we start off with. We've opened a funnel all the way through into the core of the base, so when that log launcher does pop, hopefully we'll be able to get a bit more value this time and we'll be able to take down this multi-target inferno and this eagle artillery. Let's go ahead and take a look. In comes the rage, in comes the heal, and there is that clone spell. Now you'll notice we did end up cloning a giant in there, which was not what we were looking to achieve. The tornado trap really not helping us out there, pulling our troops away from the rage and away from the heal. But we had one bowler all on his own, able to bring in that value we were looking for, taking down that multi-target inferno. We also clear out the majority of these buildings in the core, including both of these sweepers, which of course when you're coming in with an air-based attack, dealing with those air sweepers nice and early on is always going to be beneficial. Queen continuing to do some work there in the core of the base as we now get progressing through with our LaLo portion of the attack, hasting and freezing up as we see fit, using that Eternal Tome ability to protect as we make our way through the double wizard tower on the right hand side, also catching this lava hound as it progresses all the way through to the back end. When you're dropping down your balloons, don't just spam them in one massive group. If they get hit by red bombs, they're going to go down very, very quickly, so you typically want to deploy them down in groups of 4 or 5. Haste them through to those defenses like we did here, moving them through onto the multis, the wizard towers, the archer towers, whatever it may be, nice and quickly, and then you're going to be seeing a lot of 3-stars just like this one. So the majority of the value you're going to get in this one is going to be from those bowlers. The king and queen though, they do a lot of work as well, and then the balloons following those lava hounds are always going to be able to finish off the base. The only time this strategy is ever going to go wrong is 1, if you don't take down those enemy clan castle troops, and 2, if you don't get the value you need from your bowlers. But as long as you get that log launcher far enough into the base, you're pretty much always guaranteed to at least get enough that you should be able to get a high percent 2-star or that 3-star. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Subscribe to us here at the Barracks as we push for 2,000 subscribers, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.